Hi, this is my first session on HTML. In this session, I am going to introduce you to HTML and explain basic HTML tags. Before we start, we need three things. Number one, a lightweight editor for writing HTML programs. We can write programs on simple text editor like Notepad on Windows or text editor on Mac too. But I would suggest let's choose a editor which we can use all through the course, and also it should be easy to use. Some editors which I prefer to use are Notepad++, Sublime Text, InType, and Dreamweaver. I'll be using Sublime Text in the videos as it's powerful and lightweight, and it's easy to use. I'm using Sublime Text 2 in all the video tutorial series. Second is we need a place to save all the files of the HTML programs, whatever we are going to write during this tutorial series. So I have created a folder on my desktop where I'll be saving all my files. You are free to save your files wherever you want according to your choice. Third important thing is we need a web browser to execute these HTML programs. So I am using Firefox to execute all the HTML programs. So these are the three things we need to have before we start coding HTML. Now starting with some background about HTML. HTML stands for hypertext markup language. So HTML is not a programming language, it is a markup language, and markup languages are set of tags. So HTML is a set of tags which describes a web page. We can say that HTML documents are nothing but web pages. We'll be going through a set of tags which will help you write markups for describing web pages. Now HTML was found in November 1990. During those days there were very less tags and acceptance for HTML by the web browser. Later an organization was set up which was called a World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, which sets the standards of HTML since then. Today HTML is widely accepted by all the browsers, and also it's highly advanced. So we don't need a web server to execute HTML files. HTML file can be executed directly by opening in a web browser. Now this is applicable when we are developing in local environment, but when we are browsing through the internet, the real-time websites, we need a web browser even to execute, web server even to execute simple HTML files. And as I mentioned, I'll be using Firefox as the web browser for the local development environment. Now details about tags. These tags are enclosed between opening and closing angle braces. For example, for describing a paragraph in a web page, we use P tag. P stands for paragraph, and it will be surrounded between opening and closing angle brace, and in between these opening and closing angle braces, the tag name, HTML tag name is written. So in case of P tag, P is the tag name, and it is enclosed between opening and closing angle parenthesis. So almost all tags have a closing tag. For example, P is an opening tag, and closing tag will be very similar to the opening tag, except it will be having a front slash after the opening angle bracket. Now content which has to be displayed on a web page will be present in between the opening and closing tags. Content is displayed by the web page, but not the tags. Now each tag will be having some functionality, and this functionality is modified using attributes in HTML. For example, the paragraph tag, which we briefly discussed above, can have an attribute align, which describes the alignment of the paragraph which has to be displayed on the web page. Now, in case of paragraph, the attribute align is described like this. It can be assigned attribute. It can be assigned values left, right, center, or justify. So depending on the value which is assigned to the align attribute, the content will be aligned on the web page. For example, for left, the content will be aligned left. For if the value is right, then the content is aligned right. If the value is center, then the text is aligned center, and if the value is justified, then the text will be shown justified on the web page. Now, coming to the structure of an HTML document, every HTML document will have opening and closing HTML tag. So the document will be mainly divided into two sections, head and body. Now both head and body sections are again described using closing and opening and closing head and body tags respectively. Now this is how basic HTML program looks. So let's put this in an example. Let's build an example using this. Now this is the head section, and head section contains title tag. Title tag is used to describe the title of the web page, which is uh, displayed in the title bar of the browser. And after the head section is closed, the body section starts, and whatever comes in the body section is usually displayed on the web page. So let's save this. Now HTML documents usually take .htm or .html as extensions. So if the extension is .html or .htm, the browser will automatically detect that it's a HTML document, and it will execute the document accordingly. So preferably we always use .html as the extension. So let me save this, and let's now, if I execute this HTML program in the browser, it doesn't show anything as the body section is empty. Now let me put a paragraph in the body section, and also let me add a title to this HTML document. Both title and paragraph are hello HTML, so this has to be displayed on the browser. Now if you see, the browser's title bar is showing hello HTML, which I added in the title tag, and the page is showing hello HTML, which was added as a paragraph in the HTML document. So this is the basic structure of a HTML program. Now coming back to basic HTML tags, I have listed some of the basic and essential HTML tags in front of you. Now doc type is the tag which defines the document type of the HTML document, and basically doc types are DTDs as an abbreviation. When we start coding HTML documents, the first thing we should use is the doc type. Now this is not exactly a tag, but it is a way to declare and is inserted even before the HTML tag, and it is used to declare or give an instruction to the browser about the version of the HTML the page is going to contain. So the browser reads this instruction and then processes the document accordingly. So a declaration of document is nothing but intimating the browser about the document type definition. So this declaration helps the browser to render the web page correctly. So it's strongly recommended that one should always use doc type in every HTML document we code, and W3C maintains the recommendations about the doc type. So for HTML, these recommendations are HTML 4.0.1 strict, HTML 4.0.1.1 transitional, and HTML 4.0.1 frame set. Now what's the difference between these three DTDs? HTML 4.0.1 strict. Now this DTD contains all HTML elements and attributes, but does not include presentational or deprecated elements like font and frame sets are not allowed when we are using this particular doc type. HTML 4.0.1 transitional, this DTD contains all HTML elements and attributes, including the presentational and deprecated elements like font, and frame sets are not allowed in this recommendation too. And if we are using HTML 4.0.1 frame set, then this DTD is equal to HTML 4.0.1 transitional, but allows the use of frame set content. So basically these doc types will be having certain rules about which tag to use and which tag not to use on the web page or while coding the HTML documents. So let me show you by building a very simple web page using all the basic tags I have listed out before. So I'll take the transitional doc type. It's tough to remember these doc types, so I recommend you to save these doc types somewhere, so that you can just copy and paste every time you code a HTML document, or just keep a copy of all the basic and essential HTML tags so that you save some time. Now I'm using transitional doc type here, and HTML opening HTML tag and closing HTML tags are already present here. Head and title tags are already present here. Now I already have a paragraph tag in the body section. Now HTML provides us to add headings to our web page. So these headings are described using h1 to through h6 tags. It can be h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, and h6. Now there are these 6 types of headings will help us to describe the sizes of the headings on the web page. So I'll use h3 here, which is third type of heading tag. Let me use one more heading. Now other than heading, there is another tag which is used to provide a line break in between the content. Now if we want to bring this HTML and explanatory mark to the new line or to the next line, I can use BR tag, break tag, to bring this HTML in the new line. So let's see this on the web page. So you can see 2 types of heading, and after I added the BR tag, the HTML and explanatory mark came in the new line. So it added a break in that particular content. Now there is another tag called HR tag, horizontal rule tag, which is used to add a horizontal line in between 2 sections of the content. And HR tag and BR tag are single tags. It doesn't have a separate closing tag. And another tag is comment tag, to add comments in HTML. which is described like this. Now whatever comes here is a comment. Now this can be used for multi-line and single line comment. Now this content will not be displayed on the web page as it's commented. So this was all about introduction to HTML and some essential and basic HTML tags. So I'll conclude this session here. Please post your queries if any, and recommend this course to your friends if you feel it can benefit them. Thank you. Hi, in this section I'll explain about anchor tag. While browsing internet, you all must have observed that websites have many pages. Every page will have some name or reference, and respective information is published on those pages. As a user, we can traverse from one page to another by clicking on some word or group of words or an image. This behavior is achieved using an anchor tag, which is represented by a tag. Now, an anchor tag helps to create a link or hyperlink, which is used to lead a user to a new document or another section in the same document. To create a hyperlink, anchor tag has to use an attribute called href, hypertext reference, which is assigned by a value of the URL or a reference of the destination page or another section in the same web page. So the general structure of anchor tag with href attribute looks like this. Here we will specify the URL or the reference of the new document or another section in the same document. Now let me build an example. I already have two HTML pages. I have named first document as source.html and second document as destination.html. So let me add headings and titles to these documents so that it will be easy for us to understand. So we have these two pages where the first page is source.html, in which I am adding this link which is hyperlinked to destination.html, and in the destination.html I have added a link which is hyperlinked to source.html. Now let's see this example in the browser. So now in the browser we have two links, take me to destination in the source document and take me back to source in the destination document. So if I click on take me to destination source document, the destination document is loaded. Now if you see, both documents are same. If I click again on take me back to source, it will take you back to the source document. So you can see how browser jumps from one web page to another. Now anchor tag can take another attribute called target, which is defined like this. The target attribute defines whether to open the respective URL in the same browser window in which the parent page is loaded by replacing the parent page, which was happening in the example I just explained, or in a separate new window. Now target attribute can have two types of values. One is underscore self and second is underscore blank. Now underscore self will load the destination page in the same browser window, which was the default behavior. So if we do not specify underscore self, target is equal to underscore self, still the page is going to be loaded in the same browser window. But if we specify target equal to underscore blank, the page will be loaded in the new browser window. Now let me modify the same example to demonstrate target attribute. Now I have modified destination.html. So let me refresh the page. So here we have take me to Yahoo as a hyperlink. So if I click on this hyperlink, yahoo.com's first page is loaded in the same browser window where the hyperlink was existing. Now if I change this target equal to underscore blank and let's see what happens. So if you see it loaded the page in a new tab or new browser window. So this is how self and underscore blank helps to change the behavior of an anchor tag. Now I'll explain how we can jump between two sections of the same web page. Even this is achieved using anchor tag and href attribute. But here we assign the reference ID of the destination section of the same web page. I'll build an example for this to explain. I already have some content for this. So let me quickly build an example to explain this. In this web page, there are two sections: World War One and World War Two. I have assigned IDs WW1 and WW2 to both the sections separately, and I have created two sets of anchor tag on the top of the web page and at the bottom of the web page. Now I have assigned the IDs to the href attribute, and you can see you'll see how the web page will jump from one section to another. Sorry, there is a mistake here. I missed the hash tag. Because you see how the page is jumping between both the sections. Now because the page had very less content and it was fitting in the same visible browser window, that's why we were not able to observe the jumping from one section to another section property of this attribute. So this is how we can use the anchor tag to create a hyperlink in the same web page between two different sections. Now if the page is very large, then this particular property will make more sense. Now I'll explain. With anchor tag we can also create an email link. You might have observed that on many web pages you'll see contact us or reach us, clicking on which it will open the default email client preloaded with two email address and might be subject and body if specified. So in this case also href attribute comes in picture, and it will use something called mail to achieve this. So let me build an example. I'll edit the same source.html page to do this. Let's have the heading as email hyperlink. Let's have some subject. And some body. Now let's see this in the browser. So here we have contact us as the email hyperlink. So if I click on this, it should open the default mail client in Mac. If you see, this opened the mail client with the email ID preloaded and subject, also the body in the body section. So this is how anchor tag can be used to create mail links. So this was all about anchor tags, and I conclude this session here. So please do post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, in this session, I'll explain about how to add images to a web page. That is, I'll explain image tag in HTML. Images make the web page content look good, and image tag makes it possible. Image tag is represented by img tag, image tag, uh, and it's a single tag. It doesn't have a closing tag. Image tag takes some attributes, among which the most important attribute is the src attribute, source attribute, which has to be assigned with the URL of the image, which has to be displayed on the web page. Now let me build an example to demonstrate image tag and source attribute. I have an image of iPhone on my machine, which I'll display on the web page. Let's see this on the web page, how it looks. Now this is how images are displayed on the web page. Now, for instance, if the image is missing on the server, or due to some reason browser is unable to fetch the image from the server, then browser will not be able to display anything on the web page. So to avoid such situations, image tag supports another attribute called alt, which has to be assigned with a text value, which will be displayed if in case image is not able to be displayed by the browser on the web page. So I'll add some text to this, and let me just change the name of the image so that browser is unable to detect it. So if you see, the text which was given for the alt tag is being displayed on the web page. So it's a very good practice to use alt attribute for image tag. Now I can change the dimensions of the image using width and height attributes. I can provide numeric values for these attributes to change the dimensions of the image. So now if you can see the height and width of the iPhone has been changed. I can also change the alignment of this image on the web page using align attribute. Default alignment is always left, so I'll assign a right value to this align attribute. Let's see what happens. So the image is aligned to the right. Now I'll change it back to left. I can also add borders to this image using border attribute, and border attribute always takes a numeric value. So let me add a border to this image. So this was about image tag. One more important thing image tag is used for is to create hyperlinks on web page. So role of image tag here is just that it will replace the word or group of words which are enclosed between the anchor tag. So I'll create a hyperlink to yahoo.com using Yahoo logo. I already have Yahoo logo on my machine. So anchor tag, and instead of group of words or a word, I'll use image tag with the URL to the yahoo.com's logo. Let's see this on the web page. So if I click on this logo, the browser will be redirected to yahoo.com. Now this logo looks quite big, so let me change the height and width. So you can see the logo has become smaller because I made changes in height and width. Now if I click on this again, it will go to the yahoo.com first web page. So this was all about image tag, and I conclude this session here. So please post your queries if you have any. Thank you. Hi, welcome back. In this session, I'll explain formatting tags used in HTML. These formatting tags are meant for formatting or decorating text on a web page. I have listed some of the important formatting tags. Bold tag. Bold tag makes the text look bold. Next is the emphasize tag, EM tag. This is used to emphasize the text. I tag, which is called italic tag, which makes the text look italic. Next is the strong tag. This is similar to bold tag and makes text look bold. SUB tag, sub tag, is used to define subscripted text. SUP tag, this is used to define superscripted text. Del or delete tag is used to define deleted text or striked out text. Code tag, this is used to define computer code text. Whatever text enclosed between this tag will look like computer code. And PRE tag, this is used to define pre-formatted text. Now let me build a quick example to demonstrate the usage of this tag. I'll take it fast from here. Okay, now I have built an example. Now let's see this in the web page how it looks. So you can see this is the example of bold tag, emphasize tag, which is making the text to look italic. Again, the next is italic tag, which is doing the same thing. It is making the text to look italic. Strong tag, which behaves similar to bold tag, and it is displaying the text stronger compared to the other text in the sentence. H2O tag, the sub tag is being used to show 2 as a subscript in the sentence. Similarly, superscript or SUP tag is used to show 2 as a superscript in this formula. DEL tag is striking out this particular text. Code tag is making this text look like a computer font, which we used to see on the black screen. And PRE tag is making this text to display as it is, the way it was written in the source code, or while we were writing the HTML code. Now if I remove PRE tag, you can see what is going to happen. The whole sentence or the address comes in the same line. So that's what is the behavior of PRE tag. So this was a session about formatting tags. So I conclude this session, and if you have any queries about these tags, please post me. I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Thank you. Hi, welcome back. In this session, I'll discuss about list tags in HTML. List tags are used to display list items on a web page. There are 3 types of lists in HTML: ordered lists, unordered lists, and definition lists. Unordered lists, ordered lists, and definition lists. Ordered lists are presented by OL tag, unordered lists are presented by UL tag, and definition lists are presented by DL tag. Now starting with ordered lists. As the name specifies, this tag will help us to present a list of items in an order. Now let me show an example. As you can see, I already have a HTML file. Let's add a title to this file. Now let me list my favorite cities in the world. Let's have a heading for this listing. We can have it using h3 tag. My favorite cities, ordered. Now I'll list my favorite cities in the world, but I cannot do it just by using OL tag. I will have to take the help of another tag called list item tag, which is represented by li tag. Now order list acts as a container for li tag, and in turn li holds every list item in the list. So I have 4 favorite cities, so I'll require 4 list item tags. So these cities are New York, London, Tokyo, and Mumbai. So let's see this in the web page. So here you can see there's a listing of 4 favorite cities of mine in an order. Now if you can observe, this order is being shown as 1, 2, 3, 4, which is an order with whole numbers. Now with the help of an attribute called type, I can change the way of presentation of this order. I can either use alphabets or Roman letters other than whole numbers. For alphabets, I can use small alphabets or capital alphabets, small Roman letters or capital Roman letters. So let's use small alphabets and see how it looks. So you can see now the order is A, B, C, D. So in the same way, capital alphabet will work. Now order lists also can take another attribute called start, which can show the starting point of the order. Now for example, in our first list had a default starting point as 1, as the type of order was whole numbers. Now if I add 4 as the starting point, the same default list will start from number 4. As I have 4 favorite cities, it is ending at 7. So this is how order lists work in HTML. Now I'll show you the next type of list, which is called as unordered lists. Unordered lists is represented by UL tag. As the name specify, the list will not have any order. So instead of whole numbers, alphabets or Roman letters, we will be seeing bullet points to display the list. Now let's build the same list which we had above as order list and convert it into an unordered list. Let's see this in the web page. Now you can see the web page is displaying the unordered list, and bullet is a solid circle. Now like order list, unordered list can also take the attribute type, but here it will be used to change the bullet style from default to circle or square. The default bullet style is called disk. So let's make it circle and see how it looks. So it became a circle. Let me change it to square. Now it became a solid square. So this is how unordered lists work in HTML. Now the third and last type of list is definition list, which is represented using DL tag. Now definition lists are used to build definition terms and definition descriptions on a web page. Now this can be done not only by definition list tag, but we need 2 more tags called DT and DD, where DT stands for definition term and DD stands for definition description. Now I have already collected some data to build a good looking definition list. So let's build a definition list with this data. We'll be having 4 definition terms and 4 definition descriptions. So now we have built a definition list. Now let's see this in the web page. Now if you see, the definition description is slightly indented, which shows that it is the description of the definition term above it. So this is how definition lists work in HTML. So I conclude this session now. We have seen 3 types of lists in this session. If you have any queries about lists, please post it. I'll try to reply to each and every query as soon as possible. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll cover table tag. Tables in HTML are one of the most important and regularly used set of tags. Tables are meant to display tabular data on a web page. For example, normally you would have seen a marks card or grade report, online banking or credit card transaction reports, etc. For presenting this kind of tabular data on a web page, table family tags are used. So now let me build an example table with countries and their capital cities in a tabular format and demonstrate how table family tags and attributes are used to achieve this type of output on a web page. Now every table in HTML is enclosed between opening and closing table tag. Now this is opening and closing table tags. Now in table tag family there are 2 very important set of tags. Those are table rows and table cells. Table rows are presented by tr tag, and table cells are again of 2 types: header cells, which are represented by th tag, and standard cells, which are represented by td tag. So we'll come back to th and td later. Let's go back to our example table. Now in this table I'll need 8 rows, as I want to build a table for 8 countries and their capital cities. So I'll populate this table with 8 rows, and every row will have 2 columns, one column for country name and second column for country capital. So I will require 2 standard cells, this 2 TDs, and because I need it 8 times, I will copy and paste this 8 times. So let me fill the data. So we have 8 countries, and let me fill the capital cities for these. Canada is Ottawa, England is London, Berlin, Rome, New Delhi, Beijing, and Islamabad. So let's check this in the web page how it looks. So here we have the table of country names and their capital city. Now I can add a border to this table using border attribute. So border attribute takes a numeric value, so I'll add 1, I'll assign 1 to this attribute, and it should form a border around the table and the table cells. So I can increase and decrease this border by increasing or decreasing this numeric value, but for now let's keep it as 1. Now if you see in this table there's a gap between 2 cells. Every cells is having some gap between them on all the 4 sides. So this gap is called cell spacing. So this cell spacing can be modified using cell spacing attribute for table tag. So again, cell spacing takes a numeric value, and I'll add 0 to this because I don't need any cell spacing, but I can increase it to any value. If I make it 10, it will look like this. So this is how cell spacing is controlled for a table and table cells. Now again, if you come back to this table, if you can see carefully, there is almost no gap between the table data and the table walls. Now this gap is called padding. So this padding can be controlled using cell padding attribute for table tag. Again, it takes a numeric value, so I'll add some value to this so that we get some gap between the table data and the table walls. So this is how we control the cell padding for the tables. Now I can use align attribute for table to align the table to either left, right or center. By default it's left, so I'll make it center in this case. So you can see the table has aligned to center. Table tag also takes a attribute called width, which again takes a numeric value, and if you assign some numeric value, the table will expand or contract itself to that particular width. So I have added 500, which is more than the width of the table content, so it has expanded itself to 500. I can also add this width to particular table cell. So let me add 100 to this table cell. So the first column will take 100, and the remaining columns, or in this case there is only one second column, so the second column will take the width as 400. Right now we don't need this width attribute because the web page is empty, so we don't have to adjust tables width. So one thing I missed to explain was the header cells. So header cells are again enclosed between tr tag like td tag, and header cells are meant to give heading to the columns basically. So let me add the headings to the two columns we have. You can see the table has got table columns has got two headings now, country and capital. Now we have 8 countries, and I would like to sort these countries based on their continents. United States and Canada belong to North America, England, Germany, Italy belongs to Europe, India, China and Pakistan belongs to Asia. So let me add 3 more rows above each starting country to add the continent to it. Now second TD I have to keep it empty on purpose because we don't have any data to be displayed in that. If I do not add this second TD, the table's balance will be spoiled. Now the table has continent field added above each set of countries, North America, Europe and Asia. Now I can merge these two cells, or I can span this single column to 2 columns by using column span attribute for TD tag. Now if I add column span to this particular TD, then we do not need the second empty TD, which we had to keep it on purpose. So functionality of column span is to help the TD span to more than one columns or whatever numeric value we are assigning to call span. So here we go, we have North America, Europe and Asia, each span to 2 columns. Now same thing we can do it in terms of rows also. We can span the rows if we need. Now this was an example for call span. I'll copy the same table and build an example for row span. Let's have a horizontal rule so that we can differentiate easily between two tables. And instead of call span, we have to use row span. But row span, we have to span the rows to 3 because there are 3 rows. One row which contains the continent name, another 2 rows are for 2 countries. So in case of Europe, we have to make it 4 because there are 3 countries and the 4th row is for the continent. Similarly for Asia, we have to make it 4 because there are 3 countries and 1 row is for the continent. If I check this in the browser, it will look like this. There's a mistake, I didn't change it to row span. So here we have 3 row spanned TDs, but the top TH row is looking a bit ugly because we have one less TH. So let's add the capital for continent. So now it's perfect. So we have continent, country and capital. In continent, North America, Europe and Asia, which is row spanned, and another 2 columns are for country and capital with 8 set of countries and their capital. So these were 2 types of tables, one with row span and second one with column span. So this was all about table and attributes used in table or for TD and TR tags. So I conclude this session here. So if you have any queries, please post it. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll explain about HTML forms. HTML forms play a vital role to make the website interactive. Contact forms, user registration forms, login forms, etc. are very common usage of HTML forms. Now starting with the form tag. The form tag is an opening and a closing set of tags, and whatever form elements are going to be displayed on the web page will be within these tags. Now form tag takes name, ID, action, method and encryption type as attributes. Now name is used to specify the name of the form and ID is used to specify the identification of the form. Now if we are coding a HTML4 document, name attribute will work, but XHTML in XHTML name attribute is deprecated, so ID attribute should be used. Now method specifies the HTTP method being used for sending form data and can be assigned post or get. Now the form data can be sent as URL variables with method equal to get and HTTP post if method equal to post. Sorry, if it is URL variables, the method will be equal to get, and if it is HTTP post, then the method is equal to post. Now the form data is sent to the page specified in the action attribute. Now it can be the URL of a page containing the server-side script or program which will be used to process the form. Now here in this example I have just mentioned some file.php. Now some file.php will contain the server-side program or script which will process the data collected through this form. Next is encryption type, which specifies how the form data should be encoded when submitting it to the server. Now encryption type attribute is used only when method is assigned post. It can be application /x -www -form -url encoded, which is a default property, and when this value is assigned, all characters are encoded before sent. That is, spaces are converted to plus symbols and special characters are converted to ASCII or ASCII hex values. Now it can be multi-part /form data if in which no characters are encoded. Now this value is used when we have file upload control, and it can be text/plain in which spaces are converted to plus symbols but no special characters are encoded. Now as a form should accept inputs from the user, HTML form family has a tag called input which serves the purpose. Input tag is a single or empty tag and takes a very important attribute called type, which specifies what type of input has to be accepted. If type is equal to text, then it means for text input like usernames, first name, last name, address, etc. Now here I have in this example I have added a couple of input type inputs with type equal to text, where I am trying to accept username, first name and last name. Now if type is equal to password, then this is meant for accepting passwords. Whatever user types in the input box, the text will be replaced by asterisk symbol or dots so that the characters are not visible. So this is how the input type and password is going to behave in the form. Now before moving forward with other type of input, let me explain you some other attributes and tags. Name and ID are two very important attributes which are used in almost every tag of form family. So both are used for giving a name or identification to a form element. And value is another attribute which is for all types of inputs and other tags of form family. Some pre-assigned value or user input is assigned to this attribute, and the same value is processed in the background by the server-side script. So there is a tag called label, which is another important tag which is used to display the label for the form elements. So for example, here I have used label for displaying username and the word password, the word retype password, word first name and the word last name, which I am trying to display using the tag label. Now label tag can take attribute called for, which is assigned by the ID of the input tag. Now coming back to our input tags, when attribute type is assigned text or password, three more attributes can be used for input tag, which are max length, size and read only. Now max length is for specifying that what is the maximum number of characters it can accept as text inputs or password input. Max length can be or should be assigned numeric value, and size attribute, which again takes numeric value, is for specifying the visible portion of the input box in terms of number of characters. Now this attribute will not modify anything regarding the number of characters being accepted. Read only is meant to uh, make the input box look read only, and user will not be able to edit or enter anything in the input box which is assigned read only. So this is how size works. Now for this particular input box where I'm trying to accept the username, the maximum length is 10, so I cannot enter characters more than 10. Now the same input box, the size attribute is assigned 20, so the size of the width of the input box will be equivalent to 20 characters. Now if I make it 40, the size will increase to 40. Now the read only attribute here, in case of first name, I am making the first name input box as read only, so I'll not be able to do anything there. Even if I type, the input box is not going to accept anything. Now next is assigning radio and checkbox value to the type attribute. Now here it is, type is equal to radio and type is equal to checkbox. Now radio is assigned when we need to have one selection among more than one inputs, like making the user to select if he or she is a male or a female. Now all the radio input tag will share the same name. Now if you can see here, there are two input tags. Now both are sharing the same name. Now for example, in case of male female selection, the name assigned will be gender, which is nothing but a group or radio group. Now checkbox is used when we need to have more than one selection for any input, like for example hobbies of the user has to be collected in the form. Then we can provide many options with checkboxes and user can select whichever applies. And we can assign relevant IDs to these checkboxes. Now both radio and checkbox input tags can take another attribute called checked, assigned by checked word, which specifies that by default the checked element will be displayed pre-selected when the form is loaded. Now in case of checkbox, we can have multiple items checked. Now here I have two items already checked, but in case of radio button, any one in the group can be displayed checked, because radio button is however meant for only single selection among more than one options available. So this is how the radio and checkbox will look. Now in case of radio I can select only one option, but in case of checkbox I can select more than one option, and I can have more than one option pre-selected or checked. Now we can assign values to the value attribute. Basically we have to assign values to the value attribute because the same assigned value will be processed as user cannot modify that. So the same assigned value will be sent to the backend script for processing. Now disabled is one of the attributes which I didn't mention before. It can be used for many types of inputs and other tags in form family. Basically disabled will make the element look disabled, and user will not be able to do anything with that particular element. So disabled is another attribute which accepts disabled word as the value. Now next is input tag type file, which is for file upload. Here we need to assign type equal to file. With this element, user can browse files from their computers and select. When type is equal to file, we need to change the encryption type to multi-part / form data, as I mentioned earlier, because that is specifically for file upload. So here you can see how the file upload box will appear when we have input type equal to file. Now I'll be able to browse files from my computer and select it. Now once we submit it, the file processing will be done obviously by the backend script. Now next type of inputs are button, submit and reset. Now this will come into picture when user is finished filling the form and he would like to take an action. But before going there, I'll explain some more tags which are also used to take inputs from the user. A select tag is one of those. Now select tag is meant to provide a drop down list of selection. Now, select can take attributes like name, size and disabled. Now name is to specify the name of the uh, tag, and size accepts a numeric value which is meant to specify the number of items to be shown in the select drop down, and disabled which is applicable to other tags also, is used to just disable the complete tag. Now to display selectable options, another tag called option tag is used. Now select tag acts as a container for option tag. Now whatever is mentioned in opening and closing option tag is uh, uh, displayed in the select box as an option for selection. Now option tag can take name for specifying the name, and value assigned by the value for the option being listed. Now option can be disabled by using disabled attribute, and selected by using selected attribute, which will keep the option pre-selected in the option list. Now here value is assigned by some text value, and selected is assigned selected. Now this is how the select tag will build a input form. Now this is a selectable drop down list where we can select one value. Now if you can see, if you are able to see, I was able to select only one option with this select tag. Now this property can be changed by using an attribute called multiple, assigned by the term multiple. Now here in the select tag, if I assign multiple attribute with the value multiple, the select tag will change and I'll be able to select multiple options. Now we can do this by holding the control tag in on the keyboard. Now there is another tag which is meant to group the selection options. Now this tag is called opt group. Now opt group is optional if we don't have to sort the selection options, or then we don't have to use it, but this is another option to sort the drop down options. For example, here in this example, search engines and partner websites are kind of online media, so I have kept the opt group as online media, and newspaper and magazines is related to print media, so I have kept opt group as print media. Now opt group will take label as an attribute, and it is used for displaying the group name in the select box. Now this is how print media is being displayed here, online media is being displayed here. This is how opt group will behave. Even if I remove this multiple option, it will be clearly sorted. Online media, search engines, partner website, print media, newspaper and magazines. So this is how select box behaves. Now next is text area, which is very commonly seen in comment forms or a big block of information to be filled. So this is a block of large input box, which is usually used to input larger amount of text. Now this block is created by text area tag. Now text area will take attributes like rows assigned by a numeric value, which is meant to specify the height of the text area box. Now if it is 2, the height of the text area box will be of 2 rows, and similarly columns will be assigned by again a numeric value, which is used to specify the width or the number of visible lines in the uh, text area. If it is 20, then the 20 characters worth of width will be the width of the text area. Now this is how the text area will look. Now this has 2 rows and 20 columns. Next is text area can take a name, disabled and read only, uh, for assigning name and making it look disabled and making it read only respectively. These were the attributes which were used by the other tags also. So now it's time to submit or reset the forms, as we have discussed all the types of inputs which can be accepted by the user. So this can be a submission or resetting of form can be achieved by using input tag with type attribute assigned by the values submit and reset. Now if submit is assigned, then the button then a button is created, clicking on which the form is submitted, and if reset is assigned, then a button is created, clicking on which the form is again resetted. I mean it will get reset and all the user inputs are discarded, and the form will return to the initial stage. Now the value attribute is used to provide the text value which will be displayed on the buttons. This is how submit and reset button, reset or restart button will look. So this was all about form family tags and attributes. Now you can practice by creating an event registration form or an employment form, etc. So I conclude this session here. Please post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, this will be a short session on iframes. An iframe is used to display a web page within a web page. Content of the web page will look like an embedded page. Iframes are created using iframe tag. Iframe has both opening and closing tag. Iframe accepts a required attribute called src source, which is assigned by the URL of the page, which has to be loaded as an iframe. If you remember, I had created a web page for demonstrating tables in one of the previous videos. I'll just call that page in this iframe tag and show how iframe works. I'll add the name of the HTML page, which was table.html, and when we load this in the web page, the iframe is loaded like this. Now this page is from this content is from table.html page. Now we can increase the height and width of this iframe using height and width properties. Both will take numeric values, so I'll assign 500 each. Now iframe can also take name attribute, to which we can assign some name like say frame. Now this name attribute will be useful when we can give the reference of this name in the anchor tags by assigning it to the target attribute. For example, now when we click on the hyperlink created by this anchor tag, this particular web page will be loaded in the iframe because of the name attribute and the target attribute. So whatever name we are going to give to the iframe, the same has to be mentioned in the target attribute of the anchor tag. So we will create a couple of hyperlinks. One is the table.html and second one is lists.html, which I had explained in the previous videos. If we check this in the web page, you can see both the hyperlinks here. So if I click on it, by default it will load table.html because all in the iframe tag already table.html is mentioned. If I click on lists, the same iframe will be replaced by lists.html. So this is how name attribute can be used to help the anchor tag to load a particular page in the iframe. Now by default iframe gets a border. You can see a border around this iframe. We can modify this border using frame border attribute. Frame border takes a numeric value, so I'll assign 0 to this and remove the border. So this is how the iframe will look without the border. Now if you can see, this iframe gets a scroll bar by default. So we can control this property by using an attribute called scrolling, which can be assigned with three values: auto, yes, or no. Now auto will make the browser decide whether to add a scroll bar or not. So browser will decide it based on the size of the content, and yes will add a scroll bar by default and no will remove it. So if I add no to this and see this, it will remove the scroll bar irrespective of the size of the content of the iframe. So let it use the default behavior for now. So this was how iframes are created in HTML. I conclude this session here. So please post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, welcome. This will be a short session on HTML entities. I'll briefly introduce you to this. Like every other language, even HTML has special characters which are used while writing the code. Like opening and closing angle brackets are most important special characters which are used for every tag in HTML. Now, if we need to represent opening angle brace and closing angle brace uh, on the web page, there are possibilities that browser might get confused and try to render normal text as a tag. So for these reasons, a representation format for reserved characters or special characters, etc., was introduced. These are known as character entities or HTML entities in HTML. Now these entities can be written in two formats. First format is ampersand entity name semicolon or ampersand entity number semicolon. Now let me show you an example of representing ampersand using both the formats. Now ampersand amp semicolon will represent ampersand, which is entity name format, and ampersand hash 38 semicolon will also represent an ampersand, and this is entity number format. So let's see this in the web page how it looks. So if you see, both the formats represented ampersand. So now let me build a quick example displaying some of these entities. I'll show you some currency symbols and some special characters which are frequently used in websites. So I have built an example displaying some currency symbols and some special characters. In currency symbols, I am trying to display US dollars, euro, pound, Japanese yen, and Indian rupee. And in special characters, I am trying to present greater than symbol, less than symbol, ampersand, trademark, and copyright symbol. So let's see how this looks on the web page. So if you see, the characters or entity name or entity numbers produced these symbols of currencies and special characters. So this is how special characters or reserved characters are represented on a web page in HTML. So this was a brief demo on how this is done, and I conclude this session. So please do post your queries if you have any. Thank you.
Hi, in this session I'll explain about meta tag in HTML. Meta tag is mainly used to provide metadata or information of the document to the crawlers or search engines, sometimes to the browser and sometimes to some external web services which might access the document or the web page. Meta tag is represented by meta, which is a single or empty tag, and has to be always in the head section, that is between opening and closing head tags of the HTML document. Meta tag mainly works with attributes name content pair or HTTP equi content pair formats. Content attribute always takes some text as the value and it's a required attribute. Its value depends on the value of the other attribute. These are the formats of name content pair and HTTP equi content pair. Now let's assume that I want to describe meta tag for a blog which is about web and mobile technologies. Based on this assumption, I'll explain examples of meta tag. Let me start with name content pair. Depending on the value being assigned to the name attribute, the value of the content attribute is decided. Now if the value is keywords for name attribute, this is to inform search engines that what is the site about. As we assumed, we are describing the meta tag for a blog with web and mobile development content. The content attribute will be assigned with values HTML, CSS, JS, PHP, iOS, Android OS as the keywords. This will help search engine to understand that this site is about these technologies. Now, if the name is description, the search engine can pick up this description to show with the results of the searches. I have assigned Web 2.2 and mobile application development screencasts and content. Now this will be picked by the search engine and it can be displayed in the searches. If the name is abstract, we can assign a secondary description to content, which will be again picked, which can be again picked by the search engine. If name is author, the content should contain the name of the author, which in case is Vygoma Technologies, as my site's name is Vygoma.tv. Now, classification is meant to classify the site in a correct category. So this is for classifying the site. For example, if the site is about health, then the disclassification category disclassification will be health and medical or something like that. Now, copyright is for mentioning the copyright information of the document. Now, generator is usually meant to specify the name of the program that generated the document. For example, if the site is implemented on a content management system like WordPress or Joomla, the value for the content is automatically assigned as WordPress 3.1 or Joomla 4.0 or something like that by the system. So this is mainly to specify which program is generating the particular document. Now, if name is Googlebot, this is specifically to inform Google search engine about indexing, archiving, and link following rules. If the content is assigned no archive, this will prevent Google search engine for archiving the page. If the content attribute is assigned no follow, the page can be indexed but links cannot be followed. If it is no index, Google robots should follow links but not index the page. If it is no snippet, this will prevent Google search engine from saving the snippets and archiving the document. Name, this is meant for specifying the name of the document. For example, if we are on the home page or about us page or say contact us page, we can specify the name as some text value to the content attribute. Now, owner of the site or page can be defined using this particular meta tag format. Program ID is meant for defining the ID of the program used to generate the document. Rating is for web page rating if the web page contains adult content, and then it has to be described here, or if it is a generic content, it can be described here. Now, reply to is meant to specify the reply email address of the contact for the document. And revisit after defines how much often search engine providers should revisit the site. And robots is for generic search engines. For example, almost all types of search engines, not specifically for Google or Yahoo or MSN. It is meant to address all types of search engines and about search indexing and link following rules. If it is all, if content attribute is assigned all, then robot should follow links, index, and archive this page. If it is follow, then the search engine robot should follow links from this page. If it is index, robots should index, include and index this page. If it is no archive, this will prevent search engines from archiving the page. If it is no index, robots should follow links but should not index the page. If it is no follow, the page can be indexed but links should not be followed. If it is none, search engine robots can ignore this particular page. So this was about name and content pair. Now next is HTTP equi and content pair. The HTTP equi can take the following values, which I'll explain, and based on which value for the content is assigned. Now if cache control is assigned to HTTP equi attribute, we can assign public, private, no cache or no store to the content attribute. Public means the page will be cached in public shared caches. Private means the cache the page will be cached in private caches, and no cache means the page should not be cached, and no store means the page can be cached but should not be archived. Now if HTTP equi is assigned content language, then this is meant to specify the natural language or languages of the document. This is usually used by search engines to categorize the pages by language. So here in this case, I have assigned US English as the language content. It can be I mean, based on the number of languages being used in the website, we can keep changing the value here or keep adding the value. Now content type is to specify the character set of the character set for the contents of the document. Now if for example in this case the content attribute will be assigned text/html as it is a HTML document, and char set is UTF-8. So next is date. This is meant to specify the date and time when the page was created, and expires is meant for specifying the date and time when the page is going to be expired. So the date and time in all these cases should be mentioned in this particular format, where first comes the day, next the date, month, year, and then the time. Last modified specifies the last modification date. Location specifies where to redirect the visitor. Refresh, this particular attribute is meant to define that the document will be I mean after how many seconds the document is going to be refreshed or is going to switch to any new URL. Now if we assign just a numeric value to content, which is nothing but the seconds value, the same page will be refreshed and reloaded again. If we add URL also to the content attribute, the page will be refreshed and the new URL will be loaded in the particular page. Now, this is usually important. I mean, this is usually used when for example, if we change the domain name or we want to redirect the user to a particular page when the home page is loaded due to certain reasons, this attribute is used. Set cookie is to create a cookie which specifies the name and expiry date and value, etc. So this was the HTTP equi and content pair, and this was all about meta tags and its attributes. So I conclude this session here. Please post your queries if any. Thank you.
Hi, this will be a short session on how to add colors and backgrounds in the web page. This session is meant to just give a brief idea how HTML color and a background work, but I would recommend that applying colors and background should be practiced only through CSS, as it makes the process very easy and gives a lot of flexibility to decorate the web pages using colors and backgrounds. I'll be posting a workshop on CSS2 in which all these features will be covered. For now, let me walk you through colors and backgrounds. As we know, colors are formed by mixing red, green and blue light. So even in HTML, colors are represented using combinations of values of red, green and blue. So colors in HTML are represented using hexadecimal notation using hash followed by 3 pairs of hex color values. So the color will is represented like this: hash followed by 3 pairs, first pair, second pair and third pair. So as a hexadecimal value, each number will range from 0 to f, but every color is represented by a pair. So this will range between 0 to 00 to ff. So this is how a color is represented in HTML. Now there can be millions of combinations created, which is not possible to remember. So it is recommended to use some color picker to choose colors, whatever you want to apply in your web page. So there is a attribute called bg color, which can be applied to many HTML elements to change the background color of the element. So I'll use this attribute in the body tag and change the background color of the whole page. So I'll add this color. Let's see what happens. So if you saw that I added ff0000, which was for red color, which represents a red color. So the whole body color changed to red. We change and see. So this became yellow color. So this is how bg color works to change the background. Now similarly, we can add an image to the HTML elements using background attribute. So background attribute works with many HTML elements. I'll apply this attribute again on the body tag and show how it works. I'll add the iPhone image to this. So you can see the image repeats itself all over the body of the web page. We can also use patterns or large images which can fit on the complete visible portion of the web page. So like body tag, you can add these colors and backgrounds to many HTML elements using the same attribute. So this was about colors and backgrounds in HTML. I conclude the session here. Please post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll explain about adding audio and video to a HTML page. Audio and video are nothing but multimedia, and multimedia objects can be added to a HTML page using an object tag. The object tag is a standard HTML element to embed audio and video to web pages. The object element is a HTML4 element and may not be supported by earlier browsers that are not HTML4 compliant. Unfortunately, HTML4 doesn't provide the most sophisticated methods to add audio and video to web pages, but the same issue has been addressed in HTML5. Now there can be many types of audio video files which can be embedded to a HTML page. In this session I'll show how .mp3 and .mp4 can be embedded. .mp3 is for audio and .mp4 is for video, which are one of the most popular types of extension being used nowadays because of their compression techniques and wide acceptance. Now coming back to the object tag, it is represented by object tag and usually supports the plugins installed with the browser which help to play the audio and video file. For example, QuickTime is one of the plugins supplied by Apple which is installed with the browsers. Now object tag takes data as an attribute which is assigned by the URL of the object to be embedded. Now I have two examples. First one is to embed an object file stored on my local machine, and second one is to embed an video file stored on my local machine. Now here object tag will create a player to play the audio and video files on the web page. Now object tag takes height and width attributes assigned by the numeric values. Now I assign appropriate height and width to the players which will be created by this object tag on the web page. Now next is type attribute, which is usually used to assign the MIME type of the object being embedded. I have added audio slash mp3 for the audio file and video slash mp4 for the video file as the MIME types. Now next, object tag can be supported by param tag, which is nothing but parameter tag. The param tag is used to determine the parameters for the plugins embedded with an object element. A param tag is a empty or single tag and takes attributes in a name and value pair. It is usually used to provide parameters such as source of the object being embedded, adding controller to the player, adding autoplay and loop property to the object or the media file. Now if you can see on the web page, the first player will play the audio file and the second player will play the video file. As in the parameter tag I have set autoplay is false, we have to manually play the audio and video file. Now I'll play the audio file. Hope this can be recorded. Now this player is playing the audio file, and the second player which is meant to embed the video file will play the video file. Now this controller can be used to control the speed and speed etc. of the video being played. So this was all about adding audio and video to the HTML page. I conclude this session here. Please post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll explain about linking external documents, which are mostly style sheets, to a HTML web page. Linking external documents is possible using link tags, which are represented by link tag. Link tag is a single tag, and it defines the relationship between the document and an external resource. And as I mentioned before, link tag is mostly used to link style sheets. Now link tag uses href attribute, which is assigned by the URL of the document being linked. So here let me have a dummy URL of a CSS file .css. Now link tag is as I told before, link tag is a single tag and it doesn't have a closing tag. And other than href attribute, link tag can take three more attributes. Those are rel, which is relationship type attribute for defining the MIME type of the document being imported, and third is media attribute, which is meant to define for which media the particular document being imported is meant. Now in case of coming back to the rel attribute, we will have to assign style sheet as value because we are importing the CSS file, and in case of type attribute we will have to assign text slash CSS because we are importing a CSS file, so MIME type will be a text slash CSS. So for media attribute, it can be screen, which means that the document is suitable for computer screens, and this is the default value. Now this value can also be TTY, which is for teletypes or similar type of media, or it can be TV, low resolution TV type devices, or it can be projection if the document is meant for projectors, or it can be handheld small screen, low memory handheld devices, or it can be for print, or it can be for braille feedback devices. So we will use VR AI braille, or it can be oral for speech synthesizers, or the safest one is all. So it will be suitable for all devices. So this is how external documents are linked using link tag to a HTML document. And I conclude this session here. So please post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll explain script tag in HTML. To make a web page interactive and rich, addition of external client-side scripts was made possible, and one of the most popular and widely used such client-side scripting language is JavaScript. So script tag is used to define a client-side script such as JavaScript in the HTML page, and I'll be concentrating only on JavaScript in this particular session. The script tag is presented by opening and closing script tag, and there are two ways to use script tag. One by writing scripting statements in between opening and closing script tag, and the second method is by importing an external script. Now script tag takes uh, type attribute, which is used to define the MIME type of the statements being used in the script. So we can have type attribute, and commonly used type values are text slash JavaScript in case of JavaScript being used as a script. Now the attribute used for script tag when an external script is being imported is src attribute. Now src attribute is assigned by the value containing the URL of the script being imported. So these are the two ways script tag can be used. So let me show an example. I'll create a simple script to print hello world on the web page using JavaScript. So document.write function in JavaScript with the string value as parameter can be used to achieve this. Now I'll use document.write with string values. Hello world. Now let's check this in the web page. Now if you can see in the web page, we see hello world being displayed. Now I'll make use of the same script but as an external JS file and import in the web page, and we can expect the same output. I have saved the file name as hello.js, so I'll paste the same document.write function there, and let me add some extra text so that we can identify from where this message is coming. From external file, and here I'll add embed inside the page. Sorry, I didn't add the function, sorry, script tag to import this particular file. hello.js is the file name, and when I refresh the web page, you see both the statements. First statement is coming from the external file, and second statement is from the embedded script inside the HTML page. Now there is a possibility that some users who are browsing your website might be using the browser which has no JavaScript support or have disabled JavaScript in the browser. So in that case, the script tag will not execute and the user will not be able to see anything on the web page. So to avoid such surprises for the user, we make use of no script tag. Now first let me show you the scenario by disabling the JavaScript. Now I'll uncheck enable JavaScript here, and when I refresh the page, I don't see anything on the web page, which means that script tag is not being executed as there is no JavaScript support here. So uh, there the no script tag comes into picture. So I'll add no script tag with appropriate message saying that it seems your browser does not support JavaScript, or you must have disabled it. Please enable JavaScript to view the web page correctly. Now if I refresh the web page and see this, we can see the content of no script tag being displayed on the browser. Now if I again enable the JavaScript and refresh the page, the no script tag will not be executed and script tag will get executed. So this was all about script tag in HTML, and I conclude this session here. Please post your queries if any. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll explain about how to add CSS to your HTML document. With HTML4, another technology called CSS, Cascading Style Sheets, was introduced. These style sheets are embedded or imported in the HTML documents and are used to define the formatting rules for HTML elements or tags. CSS can be applied to a HTML document in three ways. First, by importing an external CSS document in the HTML document using link tag. Second way is by using a style tag in the head section of the HTML document and writing CSS rules within the opening and closing style tag. And the third way is by using style attribute in the individual HTML tag. So first let me show you the usage of style tag. As I mentioned before, style tag is represented by opening and closing style tag. Inside these tags we define the CSS rule. So usually the style tag comes in the head section of the document. Now style tag can take two attributes: type for defining the MIME type, which is always text slash CSS, and second attribute is media, which can be either the value for which can be screen, which is the default value, TTY, or TV or projection for projectors, handheld for handheld devices, print for print preview mode or printed pages, braille for braille feedback devices, oral for speech synthesizers, or all for all type of devices. So I'll keep it all. Now I'll in this example I'll style heading tags, h3 tag, in this HTML document to demonstrate style tag. So first let me add a h3 heading. This is a style heading. So in the style tag I'll write the rule for h3, font family Arial, color can be, let's make it green. This is the hex value for green. So if I check this in the browser, Sorry, I didn't add the semicolon here, and I check this in the browser. You can see the heading is styled. So now if I remove this, you can see the heading, the style of the heading is removed. Let me bring it back. So this applied font family as Arial to the heading tag, and green color to the heading. Now I can add the same style using style attribute. So style attribute in the h3 tag. So the same styling information or rules, I'll shift it in the style attribute. So you can see again the same style was applied. So in the previous case that is applying the style using the styling statements in between opening and closing style tag in the heading section, the style would have been applied to every occurrence of the h3 tag in the HTML document, or to whichever document the uh, style tag was being applied. But in this case, we have to apply this style attribute to each and every h3 occurrence in the web page. So using style attribute is considered to be most painful approach. So more preferred approach is either using the style tag in the heading section or using an external style sheet. So this was all about style tag and attribute in HTML. So I conclude this session here. In case of any queries, please post it. I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Thank you. Hi, in this session I'll explain about XHTML. Now XHTML stands for Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, and it is almost identical to HTML 4.01. It is a stricter and cleaner version of HTML. XHTML is supported by all major browsers. XHTML was introduced to build web pages in a more cleaner way, and web pages built using XHTML are more well formed and crafted. XHTML coding is also known as standards based coding. Now coming to XHTML doc types, XHTML has 4 types of doc types, and it strictly imposes the usage of doc types. There are 4 different uh, doc types, which are XHTML 1.0 strict, XHTML 1.0 transitional, XHTML 1.0 frameset, and XHTML 1.1. XHTML 1.0 strict contains all HTML elements and attributes, but does not include presentational or deprecated elements like fonts, and frame sets are not allowed. The markup must also be written as well-formed XML. In XHTML 1.0 transitional, this contains all HTML elements and attributes, including the presentational and deprecated elements like font, and frame sets are not allowed in this, and markup must also be written as a well-formed XML. XHTML 1.0 frame set, DTD is equal to XHTML 1.0 transitional, but allows the usage of frame set content. And the XHTML 1.1, this DTD is equal to XHTML 1.0 strict, but allows you to add modules, for example, to provide Ruby support for East Asian languages, etc. Now these were the types of doc types which are used for XHTML. I'll be using either script or transitional for future examples and explanations. Next is XHTML needs XMLNS attribute to be added to HTML tag. XMLNS attribute specifies the XML namespace. It should be assigned with the value which is an URL, and HTML tag will look like this with XMLNS attribute. And we should add another attribute, XML lang equal to English, that is XML lang attribute takes the language as the value. So here, because the document contains English, we will be assigning English as the language. If some other language is being used, then the same should be specified in the value. Next, XHTML needs the document to be coded with some rules. So I'll just go through those simple rules one by one. Uh, First one is all elements and attributes must be in lowercase. So if you see these two examples, the first example has the element p and attribute align in uppercase, which is not allowed in XHTML. So the second example holds good in case of XHTML, where p and align are in smaller case, lower case. So we should make a practice of using all these elements and attributes in lowercase. Second is all attributes must be quoted. So the first example is not allowed or incorrect, where the attribute value is not quoted. So we should make a practice that we should always quote every attribute value in XHTML. Then there should be proper nesting of elements. So in this, the first example shows improper nesting of elements, where I tag is not closed first, and strong tag is being closed first before I tag. So this is a wrong practice, which is sometimes accepted in HTML but is not accepted in XHTML at all. So these kind of improper nestings cannot be practiced in XHTML. Fourth one is normal and empty elements should be closed. So basically this statement means that every tag should be properly closed. So the first example shows that p tag is not being closed both the times, and single tags like br and hr tags are also not being closed, so which is incorrect. So we should make a practice of closing each and every element in XHTML. And fifth is XHTML documents must have one root element, which means that XHTML elements must be nested within the HTML root element, and child elements must be in pairs of correctly nested within the parent element. So the above rules and example with the above rules and examples, we move towards XHTML, and I'll explain all other examples in XHTML in future. So I conclude this session here. So please post your queries if any. Thank you.